Hi, I'm gonna draw some flowers just for shits and giggles. Because I can. So do some little sketchy business. How about we'll start with a traditional style rose. There's so many different ways to draw these, but this is kind of how I build mine up. Just gonna start with the center like ball of it. And then I'll just start constructing some petals off of it. The centers can be a lot of different ways. You know, the real traditional ones, sometimes you'll see this sort of thing. Sometimes you'll see sort of swirly stuff. Sometimes just kind of have some stacked little petals like that. Kind of whatever you like. I always kind of enjoy this little spiral deal. I have my dryer going on in the background. I don't know if the mic is picking that up or not. If it is, deal with it. I thought about just doing a time lapse. That might have been better. Shoot, maybe when I'm done with this, I'll just turn it into a time lapse and you can't hear me saying stupid stuff over it. Yeah, really, it's just kind of about layering your petals and kind of building off of that base shape. You know, once you get kind of a center that you like, then you can start drawing petals off of that. So you could do, and I mean, there's different kinds of petal shapes. You know, you've got the real super traditional, just swoopy 5-petal thing. Or you can get more neo-traditional with it and do kind of angly stuff like that around which, you know, then you'd shade these sort of dips in, you know. Do that. Or there's some that are even more pointy and simple that I've kind of been digging, that are just kind of these like diamond shapes. Those are kind of fun. I have some that are falling, maybe. Sometimes you'll see people draw these roses where like the petals are all just kind of stretched out and stacked, which I think is kind of fun. Maybe that sort of idea. And you just kind of slowly build up your details, kind of refine your lines as you go. Add as many petals as you want, but flower in the flower without a bunch of leaves. And the cool thing about especially like traditional or neo-traditional roses and stuff is that you really can't have too many leaves. Sometimes you can kind of make some little markings, just simple lines at first to kind of decide where you want them. And then also a million different ways to draw leaves. Kind of like to draw my general shape out first. Light. And then I can go in with my leaf veins, whatever they're called. Could do that style. Could do, if you're doing more traditional, you know, and this is all kind of sketchy. Like if I was actually getting this ready for a tattoo, I'd clean this up quite a bit, but and decide my shape here. Do it like that. Do just keep it smooth on the outside and then do that. Do jaggedy ones. I don't know. I just kind of like this style. You do whatever floats your boat. Kind of like to vary the spacing between these lines. Just makes it look a little more interesting. I've seen some where you just straight up just start with a circle for the base of the leaf. Make them real round fat boys. And those can look really nice if you've got a, you know, if your flower petal styles are super angular. You can add some nice, just like shape contrast. Yeah. Maybe they flare out really wide or something. Or maybe these lines start from way down. There's different shapes you can do. But for this, I think I'll just kind of keep them the same sort of style here. Sometimes I have a problem with spacing them out too evenly. I mean, I'm drawing in a square here, so it's all just kind of filling up these corners. You know, if I was drawing something specifically for the body, I'd try to elongate it a little more, but that's all right. But also, it's good to have like a variety of a couple different kinds of leaves, so it's not all the same. Maybe you got some like little guys popping out here or something. Or thorns. Thorns are good. Add some interest visually. I just kind of mess around with placement until I get something that I like. It's good to like, I'll like zoom way out. Kind of help you see the general shape. Yeah, that's kind of fun. So anyway, there's a rose. We can do layer here. How about just kind of a simple traditional flower? Again, just gonna start off with a circle. Oosh. I mean, Procreate could just do it for me. You know, you just boop. Oh, great, perfect circle. But I always start with this wonky, sketchy one. You kind of find your center. So if you're doing like a just kind of basic 5-petal traditional flower, kind of like maybe not be on the eraser. There we go. You can kind of sort of rough out 5 lines coming out from the center and try to get them spaced as evenly as possible. Sometimes it helps to rotate it around. So you can just kind of see what's off. Put more time into it, you could certainly get them spaced a little more even, but you get the idea. This is another thing where there's a billion different ways to draw these petals, but one of the ways I like to do it is I'll kind of come off at each side of these lines with a curve. I can tell that's a little wonky, but it's okay for this. So you can kind of start to see the shape of the petal sort of forming. Now you can either do one of these, like these little dips, or completely round it off. I kind of like to do a little scallop on the end. So I'll find the center of my petal, make another little bloop, Maybe I'll just do like that. Or I've done ones where it's got a couple little guys like that, and you can, I mean, that's more neo-traditional, but you can keep them as simple as you want. That sort of thing, and boop. Just go all the way around. I feel like with flowers, the same way I feel about like mandalas, where it's like you can make about anything look good as long as you repeat the same pattern all the way around. And then it kind of becomes its own little pattern, style, way of drawing. That's not too bad. And then these, you know, usually pretty simple leaves. Doesn't always mean they're easier. Simpler is harder half the time. Do ones like that. Or maybe if you shade them, you'd have kind of a gap there, and color them in that way, or see where they're just split down the middle. Colored in that way. Maybe they're just faded up. Don't sucks. You get the idea though, right? Don't be afraid to erase your shit, you know? Not everything has to be a masterpiece. If it sucks, it sucks. Start over. Alright. There's that. There's that little guy. What else? Sometimes you can do just little flower buds. You know, if you want to do generic, traditional or neo-traditional flower bud, you just kind of start with an oval. And then just kind of make this sort of little closed shape. And then from there you can add whatever kind of leafy base you want. That kind of works, sort of. Drawing's all trial and error half the time. I don't always know what I'm doing. If you're second guessing yourself, just trust the process. That's okay. That's not great, but mostly it's not great on its own. You know, say if you had it coming off of, you know, another flower or something, or even like having a couple of them. You know, say, I'll just duplicate that for the sake of what we're doing here, but you know, if you had like some little buds coming off of a flower, like it kind of works in conjunction with something else in a composition as just a simple concept, simple shape. Whatever I'm trying to say there. Maybe been doing some peonies lately. Again, a lot of these just kind of start with a ball shape, and you build off from that. I feel like peonies take me longer to hone in than other flowers. I'm certainly still working on getting better at them. But, you know, the center of the peony, it's kind of same idea as a rose, where you've got the petals that are folded around the middle that are starting to open up. So you can kind of block in some general petal shapes. My stomach is growling right now. I'm sorry if you can hear that too. Okay. Great time to record a video. So then off of this, it just kind of depends on what style of petals you want. You know, you can keep them pretty simple and just have them be some little swoopy dudes. I mean, that's usually what I do. I haven't gotten super duper fancy with my peonies yet. Which is fine, because sometimes simpler is better. I say to make myself feel better. Okay. You know, you get that little center bit. If you want to get more detailed, you can put some little bits in here for the middle. I kind of like to, depending on the drawing, but what I'm doing with it, draw these little veins in the petals. Kind of just go off of whatever little dips I have. Alright, so we got all of it. And same thing as the rose, you just kind of start building off of that, getting them to open up. This is the part that I struggle with often, and I really gotta tinker around with my shapes. They're so big and flowy. I'm still learning. S shapes are always good. Big loose S shapes. And then just kind of building off of that. Kind of make them so they're folding over on each other. I don't always like what I draw, so hashtag artist problems. Okay, first of all. Can't see what I'm doing. Too much stuff on the screen. That's getting out of hand. It was like too much. Oopsies. Not what I wanted. Shit, I don't know. This is why drawing is so time consuming. Like I'm a pretty quick artist. Like I can draw stuff up pretty fast. But it's easier when I've got references up. Which using references is not cheating. You know, every artist, you know, even back to the old masters, using references. But it can be kind of a fun exercise to see how you do without them, which right now, not great. Certainly not my favorite, but leaves can help sometimes. Peony leaves are different than rose leaves. A little better. I mean, it's super rough, but you get the idea. So, yeah, there's some stuff. There's some things. That's how to do a couple of little deals. You just gotta draw more, all the time, forever, and then you'll get better. So, if it sucks, draw it again. That's the secret. Cool. Okay, thanks. Bye.